Township Board of Education leads the district in celebrating our cultural diversity and ensures that every child who resides in Piscataway, regardless of race or immigration status, is welcome. And whereas the Piscataway Township Board of Education supports expanded technology and access to technology for all students, particularly with the advent of remote instruction. And whereas the Piscataway School Board members who receive no remuneration for their services act as advocates for Piscataway students as they work with administrators, teachers, and parents to inspire high expectations and high-quality education. Now, therefore be it resolved that Dr. Frank Rinelli, Superintendent of Schools, do hereby recognize the services of the members of the Piscataway Board of Education and extend appreciation to Chantel Cherry, Dr. Tom Connors, Nancy Corradino, Courtney King, Kimberly Lane, Sarah Rashid, Nancy Salgado Cowan, Zoe Scotto, and Brenda Smith as we join communities statewide in observing January 2023 as School Board Recognition Month. Let's give our board a hand. Madam Chair, this concludes the superintendent's report.
Thank you very much, Dr. Baskerville. Next on the agenda is Personnel and Labor Relations, Ms. Salgado Cohen.
Be it resolved that the following motion identified as items A through D be approved as presented.
Second. Mr. Secretary, can you please take the vote?
Mrs. Cordino?
Yes.
Mr. King?
Yes.
Mrs. Lane?
Yes.
Ms. Rashid?
Yes.
Mrs. Salgado Cowan?
Yes.
Ms. Scotto?
Yes.
Ms. Smith?
Yes.
Dr. Connors?
Yes.
Ms. Cherry?
Yes.
Motion's carried.
Next on the agenda is committee reports. Committee reports will be for fiscal planning and operations are the only ones who met for this meeting. Dr. Connors?
Yeah, the Fiscal Plans and Operations Committee met January 9th to discuss 2023-2024 budget, capital projects, energy savings, and more on the 2021-22 audit. The audit summary application deadline was extended to January 31st, 2023, and the annual comprehensive financial report filing deadline was extended to March 17th, 2023. The reserve deposits were finalized with capital reserve deposit of $6 million. I get excited when we talk about money. So 2023-2024 budget. School and department budget meetings are ongoing. District administration continues to monitor health benefit costs. 2023-2024 budget estimate is due by the end of January. The district expects to utilize the healthcare cost waiver as an adjustment to the tax levy cap. Energy Star certifications, as you heard before, 4 schools in the district earned the Environmental Protection Agency's Energy Star designation: Kanakamak Middle School, Noble Elementary School, Piscataway High School, and Randolph Middle Elementary School. Their scores placed them in the top 20% of similar buildings nationwide for energy performance. Facility capital projects, HVAC upgrade, H&S Construction installed 4-unit ventilators in classrooms at Knollwood over the winter break. Additional preparatory work was completed in other rooms. H&S will complete the installation of the media center and faculty rooms units at Knollwood and Randolph Hill in January. Energy savings improvement programs, better known as the ESIP, the solar PPA is
Power
purchase agreement. Arbor, Eisenhower, and King are still waiting for permission to operate. Honeywell projects, rooftop units were installed at Eisenhower and Arbor over winter break. Transformer replacements and LED lighting work in the Piscataway High School music room was also completed over winter break. District review of the PHA window replacement project specifications will occur this week. New Jersey School Business Legislative Update. I discussed the review of Assembly 4496 by the Assembly Education Committee, which is concerning construction of school facility projects. The New Jersey Association of School Business Officials continues to be active regarding Senate 3203 and other transportation-related legislation. Mr. Oliveira noted that low $1,000 threshold for the vendor certification prohibiting activities in Belarus and Russia. Business office update on the federal emergency, the FEMA application. Mr. Olivera submitted a FEMA reimbursement application for COVID-19 related expenses not covered by other grants. And that is my report.
Thank you, Dr. Connors. Next on the agenda is approval of minutes. Ms. Lane?
Be it resolved that the following minutes be approved as submitted. Business meeting, December 8th, 2022. Executive session, December 8th, 2022. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Okay, next on the agenda is public comments from the floor. The Board of Education recognizes the value of public comments on educational issues and school matters of community interest. In support of this position, the law establishes periods of public comment at every board meeting. Individuals wishing to speak must state their name and this municipality. Comments are limited to 3 minutes duration, but an individual may speak a second time after all others who wish to speak on the topic have been heard. The board may require that individuals register to speak prior to the beginning of the meeting. Participants may submit written material in support of their position. All statements and or questions shall be directed to the presiding officer, and no participant may address or question board members individually. All speakers are requested to express themselves in civil manner with due respect for dignity and privacy rights of others whose legal rights may be affected. Please note, while this is not the board's intention to stifle comment on matters of legitimate concern to the school community, the public should be aware that if the statements violate the rights of others under the law governing defamation of invasion of privacy, they may face personal liability to the injured party. If speakers are uncertain of their legal ramifications of their comments, the board urges them to seek guidance beforehand from their own legal advisor. Is there anyone wishing to speak in? Please come forward, state your name and address, please.
Sure. Hi, good evening. I'm William Gonzalez, principal of Quibbletown Middle School, as well as the president of the Principal Supervisor Association. So I wanted to just take a moment of your time to certainly welcome new members, Ms. Arnell Cohen and Mr. King, as well as congratulations to you, Ms. Cherry, for being the president. Certainly, it's been wonderful working with all of you for these couple of years now. We'd like to continue that wonderful relationship with the Principals and Supervisors Association, and certainly call on me if you need it. So again, Happy New Year to you. Hope everything is well with your families and yourselves, and have a great evening.
Thank you, Ms. Gonzalez. Anyone else wishing to speak? Please come forward and state your name and address, please.
Sid Madison from Piscataway. New estimates released by the firm Rotem Group reveal that the U.S. greenhouse gas emissions from energy and industry increased in 2022, moving the nation in the opposite direction from its climate goals, according to the New York Times. The important part of that statement is moving in the opposite direction from our climate goals. President Biden's climate goal is to reduce greenhouse gas emissions by 50 to 52% by 2030, and Governor Murphy has a similar goal of 50%. These goals were set to achieve holding a warming increase to 1.5 degrees. For new members of the school board, I have previously asked the school board to send a letter to Governor Murphy and/or to pass a resolution saying, Governor Murphy, immediately enact a moratorium on fossil fuel infrastructure projects in New Jersey. In light of the fact that the BPU says no more fossil fuel infrastructure is needed in New Jersey, this seems very reasonable. I have also asked the Piscataway Council to do the same thing, and recently asked a friend if she would help on this project. She asked, essentially, who have you talked to? And my answer was, no one since before the pandemic. My approach, flawed as it has been, is to present the facts that we are not addressing the climate crisis at the needed level. On the other hand, for the school board, I did suggest a task force or ad hoc committee of the school board and said I would welcome the chance to inform them of the rationale behind this request to be made of Governor Murphy. I encourage you to take action as soon as possible on this request. Mr. O'Vera has been very helpful and can contact me. If asked, I could give a summary statement via a quote why holding the increase to average global temperature to 1.5 is so important, which corresponds to the goals of President Biden and Governor Murphy. Are there any questions?
Seeing no questions, thank you very much. Sid?
Well, I just want to make a comment, Sid, that it's great that you keep championing this effort. And when I was president last year, we did take the same resolution that the township had passed in June of 2021, and we're in receipt of that. And I would recommend, Madam President, that we take a look at that resolution and act on it as a board, since the town has already put forth that resolution. And as you were sitting here, as you can see, Sid, as a school board, and within our circle of influence of what we can do, we have, you saw the 4 schools with the EPA's Energy Star designation, which is an action against what you were saying, because it's taking out from the atmosphere things that we would be putting in there and reducing our energy consumption and while we're doing that. So I would like to say that there is, action speaks louder than words. You and I have had several conversations, and I would just recommend that we do look at that resolution from 2021, and thank you again, Sid.
So that resolution from the Piscataway Council has to do with the vesting from the State Investment Council from fossil fuels. It does not address what I just talked about.
Well, we're not in receipt of any written on that.
So you would like a written resolution on this subject from me? Is that what I understand?
Well, we'd like to take a look at what you would,
What you're proposing
what you're
and what it would
proposing
entail.
right, because we're not in receipt of beyond the other one.
Because this is your first time bringing this up to us.
Right.
We've discussed other things with you in terms of
Right.
the environment, but not this particular topic that you're talking about tonight. So the same way you've been in communications with Mr. Olivera, if you could email him what you were talking about tonight, therefore he can pass it on to us and we can take a look at it.
Right.
Okay, so that's a misunderstanding of what I presented in the past, because I've asked specifically for this in the past. And I've provided information that supports this. And the resolution is a typical resolution is on the Empower New Jersey site, and I can provide a copy of that. My concern is that we're educating kids, and we're not preparing the planet that they're going to inherit properly. And it's wrong to educate the kids and not protect the planet. And the planet on the process that we're currently on is not going to be good for them or anyone else. And we're not doing the right thing. You did the right thing in terms of the buildings. I have no problem with that. I have solar. I just put in heat pumps. I have a Tesla in my driveway, a Prius Prime, and a hybrid. I'm doing all the right things too, but that's not enough. I spent New Year's Eve at President Biden's house asking him to declare a climate emergency. So I'm doing my part, and part of my part is to come to you and to the council, and I go to the New Jersey Transit Board, and I ask them to do the same thing. It's people at your level that have to take the actions that I've asked about, and the reason for that is, it's not being done by anybody else. And you folks are an important part of the community and can lead the community on this. And that's why I'm here asking you to do it. Because the rest of the process is not getting done right. And we're just destroying the planet for the kids you're trying to educate. You educate them and let the planet be destroyed, it won't make any difference that you educated them.
Thank you for your comments and your passion.
Okay, anyone else wishing to speak during public comments? If not, can I have a motion to close public comments, please? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, public comments now closed. Fiscal and finance, planning and operations, Dr. Connors.
Be resolved, the following motions identified as items A through G be approved as presented.
Second. Mrs. Secretary, can you take the roll, please?
Mr. King?
Yes.
Mrs. Lane?
Yes.
Mr. Sheed?
Yes.
Mrs. Salgado Cowan?
Yes.
Ms. Scotto?
Yes.
Ms. Smith?
Yes.
Mrs. Cordino?
Yes.
Dr. Connors?
Yes.
Ms. Cherry?
Yes.
Motion's carried.
Policy, Ms. Smith.
Be it resolved that the following motion identified as item A be approved as presented.
Second?
Mrs. Secretary, can you please call the roll?
Mrs. Lane?
Yes.
Mr. Sheed?
Yes.
Mrs. Salgado Cowan?
Yes.
Ms. Scotto?
Yes.
Ms. Smith?
Yes.
Mrs. Cordino?
Yes.
Mr. King?
Yes.
Dr. Connors?
Yes.
Ms. Cherry?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Curriculum, Mr. King.
Be it resolved that the following motions identified as items A and B be approved as presented. Authorization to apply for and accept the elementary and secondary education act carryover in the amount of $508,284.
Just notice A through C.
A through C.
Yeah, there's item C. Quite a lengthy list of field trips.
Yes.
They're on the,
Sorry, and is there a second to that motion?
Second?
did he pull the final one out of his folder?
Shall we go over?
No, we're good.
Yeah, it's on record, it was actually through C. Mr. Secretary, can you call the roll,
Madam
please?
President, before the,
Sure.
after the second, we have a discussion, and I'd like to make a comment or ask a question about item A. I wanted to bring to people's attention that item A is the authorization to apply for and accept. That's a large, substantial amount of money, and I would just ask the business administrator to tell us a little bit about it, and how this money may affect the budget.
This is our annual federal ESEA, back in the day called No Child Left Behind money. This particular resolution is authorizing carryover. So carryover came from unspent funds from the prior fiscal year. And we get to carry them over into a subsequent year. We obviously try to expend as much as we can in the relevant year. It's not always possible. Each of these have very specific things that they're tailored for. For example, Title I are funds that are targeted to specific students in particular schools. Some of the ways we try and spend it, again, we're not always successful in finding the targeted services that work. So it's not unordinary for us to have carryover, and this money will be rolled into the current year. And myself, Dr. Baskerville, Ms. Ortiz, we meet monthly to discuss how we're going to spend these funds and really try and make sure they're used in the way that they're targeted. So this will be added to our current year allotment in each of these 4 categories.
Thank you for that explanation.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. Can you call the roll, please?
Mr. Sheed?
Yes.
Mrs. Salgado Cowan?
Yes.
Ms. Scotto?
Yes.
Ms. Smith?
Yes.
Mrs. Cordino?
Yes.
Mr. King?
Yes.
Mrs. Lane?
Yes.
Dr. Connors?
Yes.
Ms. Cherry?
Yes.
Motion's carried.
Pupil Services, Mrs. Cordino. I don't think anything in the past, right? Just read it. Okay.
Nothing like
Okay, there's nothing in pupil services, we'll go on to administrative and auxiliaries, Ms. Scott.
Be it resolved that the following motions identified as items A through F be approved as presented.
Second. Mr. Secretary, can you call the roll, please?
Ms. Scotto?
Yes.
Ms. Smith?
Yes.
Mrs. Cordino?
Yes.
Mr. King?
Yes.
Mrs. Lane?
Yes.
Ms. Rashid?
Yes.
Mrs. Salgado Perrin?
Yes.
Dr. Connors?
Yes.
Ms. Cherry?
Yes.
Motion's carried.
I just wanted to recognize, I know we're done with this, that, our own Kimberly Lane is an alternate, representative, right? Which is kudos to you, thank you.
Okay. Old business, does anyone have any old business that they would like to comment on? Okay, seeing there's no old business, is there any new business anyone would like to comment on or let us know about? Yes, Dr. Connors.
In your packet, there was the senior nights, and also for the new board members, you get a pass to Middlesex, Greater Middlesex County. You can go to any games with this pass. And it's just good to to show up. For example, girls basketball is Thursday, February 2nd, boys basketball. And, the teams appreciate board members showing up, especially senior. These are the senior night games. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Connors. Anyone else with any new business?
Yes, just a few comments also from the new board members. So I am a huge proponent of our membership that we're afforded by way of our being a board member here in Piscataway, but we're also members of not only the NJSBA, which is the New Jersey School Boards Association that hosts the annual workshop, and obviously, they're behind the governance training sessions and other training sessions that they offer throughout the year. But there's also the Middlesex County School Boards Association. I was recently voted, thank you, Dr. Connors, and thank you, Nancy, for your support, along with the other communities there in Middlesex County. I was voted the delegate member to the Middlesex County School Boards Association, and I feel very passionately about these associations and affiliations and attending the monthly meetings. Also taking advantage of, reading your board notes magazine when it comes, being apprised of all of the legislative updates that are, presented on the website. But it's a great way to hone in on what's happening throughout the state, keep your finger on the pulse of things statewide, learn from your compatriots and, board members that, range from Sparta to Cape May. You can learn a lot from fellow board members across the state and, really just stay abreast and ahead of things and share best practices along the way. So you will receive notifications by way of your email from the likes of Robert Acera. We do have a field services representative that supports our area, our neck of the woods, Patricia Reese. And, if you're able to attend those sessions, they are either virtual or in person. They're hosted at a local restaurant typically. And it's a really nice way to kind of team up and hear from other school districts to learn along the way. You are not relegated to attending your specific county's events. You have the ability now, since they've gone virtual, which is a great gift,